time for Ball Talk with Sanford and Johnny. From what's happening on the Blue at Boise State to the Mountain West and beyond. The biggest storylines, the best guests, and most outlandish opinions from two dudes who eat, sleep, and breathe college football. Ball Talk is presented by Circa Las Vegas and Circa Sports. Check out the world's largest sports book at Circa and watch the game at Stadium Swim on your next trip to Las Vegas. Book your trip today at circalasvegas.com. Ball Talk with Sanford and Johnny, featuring former Boise State quarterback and longtime coach Mike Sanford and KTIK 95.3 FM The Ticket's Johnny Mallory on Bronco Nation News.
Out a season 3, episode 10. I'm turning College Game Day on the television.
Hold on, Johnny.
Left. I am Johnny Ballgame. This is Ball Talk Special Edition, free at 9 a.m. for our schedules. My partner, Mike Sanford, Coach Tuddy, Valor Christian, many other places in Boise State through and through. Coach, let's have some fun this morning.
Well, happy Saturday morning to all who observe the greatest day. What is it, about 18 of them, maybe 20 total over the course of an annual calendar, and that's college football Saturday mornings, man. Is there anything better? Johnny, is there anything better than a college football Saturday morning? No, 18, I know 18 sounds like a lot, but when you throw into the bowl games and the playoffs and some action, the week 0, Army Navy, by the way, I'm going to be going to my first Army Navy game. I'm going to Baltimore. The USAA is flying out, me and my co-host Alex Ryan-Emmy. Hopefully it'll be the week after the state championship here in Colorado. Got a lot of work to do to get there, but that's the goal. Sorry for everybody for missing Ball Talk on Wednesday night. I had a Thursday night game at we had about a 7-hour bus drive across the Rocky Mountains to the Western Slope in Grand Junction against Freedom Monument on Thursday. So it ended up being a 30-hour total trip. There were 10 inches of snow in the mountain passes, so we had to stay. Instead of coming straight home after the game, we had to stay. So I'm fighting some chest stuff. Been on some prednisone to try to get rid of this potential walk-in pneumonia. But I'm feeling great today, and I'm ready to talk about the first place Mountain West Conference champ Boise State Broncos that appear to be on a collision course with the San Diego State Aztecs.
6-2, 4-0 in the Mountain West. 4 Mountain West games left. 2 of them, you said, San Diego State, Fresno State next week. The other 2, Colorado State, Utah State. Those 4, if you get probably 3-1 in that 4, you're going to be in the Mountain West championship game again. If you get 4 out of 4, you're going to get to host it again and keep hope alive that chaos in the American can possibly happen, and you can put yourself at 11-2 on Selection Sunday, begging to have a better resume than whatever champion the American Conference can bring to the table.
Help me out. I have been watching my own playoff pictures for high school football here in Colorado to see seedings, and there's a team here that just has been winning every state championship for the last decade. So everybody's trying to figure out when can we make sure that we avoid them and all that. What's the give me the AAC, the lay of the land? Tulane still in the mix?
Yeah, there's a few teams in the mix, but it's South Florida. It's South Florida, and they look really good at coach.
Is Memphis still in the mix, or are they pretty much out?
100%. Memphis is right in the mix as well. Memphis is 2-1 in the league. Like, There's the teams that are still undefeated in the American. Navy's 4-0, South Florida's 3-0, Tulane is 3-0. Okay. Those 3 teams. Memphis is 2-1, but they still play those teams. But yeah, right now Navy's undefeated. They're 6-0.
Yeah, I guess when you play
Notre Dame coming up. They have Notre Dame coming up.
We went through this deal a year ago, didn't we, with Army? Remember this?
Yeah. You're right. This was Army last year.
I know you. I've seen you before. I know what you do late in the season. I know about your regular season.
Yeah. So we have some stuff on the table. I mean, last night certainly wasn't pretty. I don't think this team is pretty. And I think maybe if you're asking it to become gorgeous, you're probably, barking up the wrong tree or hoping for something that might not be possible. I think what is possible with this team, and we'll talk about it, is another Mountain West Conference championship and an 11-2 record. And if that's a down year or a lousy team finding a way to go 11-2, there's just a lot that can come with that. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. But before tonight, this morning, man, there's a first one. But first we want to get into this before we start ball talk free for everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Coach Sanford wanted to do a mic drop today, kind of before we get into everything. So ladies and gentlemen, here's your mic drop.
Yeah, another Boise State Bronco, one of us, one of the family, gone far too soon. And Doug Martin, tragic news, total gut punch. Somebody that I got to know just a little bit in the time that I coached at Boise State. He was after me as a player. Obviously I've heard plenty of stories about just what an awesome guy he was, what a great teammate he was. We all know what an incredible competitor and teammate and football player and running back, the muscle hamster was, but this was tragedy. And there'll be a lot of information that comes out that I don't know any of it that other than what we all have seen and heard. But all I know is that this is one of our beloved Boise State Broncos that has left this earth far too soon. And, for me and for being around this great game of football and the pressures of the game of football, the ups and downs of the coaching lifestyle, the ups and downs of the professional players that go from making a ton of money to having that essentially all wrap up fairly quickly. And then also the violence of the game. This is a sport that it leaves a lot of victims in its path. And it's not just the sport. This is life as well. And that's, I think about some of my former teammates, not necessarily just by way of the same ways that say that, that Doug Martin passed away from, but whatever it may be. Too many of my teammates are not on this earth anymore. I'm 43 years old. Too many players that I coached not on this earth anymore. I think, of obviously Doug Martin right now. I think of Julius Roberts. I think of Jack Fields, a kid that I coached in 2014. Just players that, for whatever reason, the good Lord called them home before what would be the natural time for them to come home. And all I want to say today is, addiction, mental health, physical health, cancer, accidents, all of these things should remind us all that life is very short. Life is very fragile, and that we need to reach out to somebody today, reach out to somebody tomorrow. Could be a former teammate of ours in any sport, and just check in and let them know you love them. Let them know that you care about them. Let them know that they're worthy. Let them know that they have somebody in their corner. And just let somebody who's going through maybe a diagnosis know that you're praying for them and that you're thinking of them and that you're willing to support them. This Boise State Bronco family is one that I've always felt close to, even though I haven't always had a chance to feel near in proximity to over the last 20 some odd years. But right now with Doug Martin being called away from this earth too soon, all I could say is that let's look out for our Bronco brethren. Let's look out for our human brethren. And let's just be really, really, really good conduits to bring this world to a place where everybody knows that they're important, that they matter, and that they have somebody in their corner. And so on that, Doug Martin, rest in peace, brother. Rest in peace to all of my brothers that are gone too far, too soon from this earth. And that is my mic drop.
If you think I'm pretty, lay your hands on me. No, you can't stop thinking about it. I know that you're shitty and you're bad for me, but I can't stop thinking about it. If you think I'm pretty, lay your hands on me. No, you can't stop thinking about it. I know that you're shitty and you're bad for me, but I can't stop thinking about it.
Appreciate that, Coach Sanford. Certainly, Doug Martin, a member of the Bronco family, and tough deal for everybody around Bronco Nation and anybody who knew Doug. And thoughts, prayers with his family, his loved ones, the closest people to Doug Martin, and everything that they're going through right now, Coach Sanford. 24-3. They almost covered the spread. They were right there. I'm not really sure. This wasn't a pretty win. I don't think there were a couple of things. They weren't all over the place with the flags. There's only 2 penalties, and one they gave on their own, taking a delay of game. So they cleaned that up. If you were asking for the secondary to play better, they absolutely have, and they are. And you got 2 corners now that have turned into ball hawks the last couple of weeks, taking the ball back. But it's like this team, for me, so far this year, they can't have, for whatever reason, it all hasn't come together. Some will come together, and then the special teams will play like dog crap, or the offense or the defense. I think they're still looking to put that all together now. In doing what they're doing now in this operation, it has been good enough to handle yourself and then some with some of these Mountain West teams. Nevada didn't look like 1-6 last night.
No, sir.
Had them ready to play. And up front, I was really impressed with Nevada on the line of scrimmage.
Especially the defensive line, man.
Oh, God, that was the unit of the game for me, was Nevada's defensive line. They boxed in that Boise State rushing attack. And I will let you go. Here we go, 24-3. Sandman, fire us up.
Well, first off, can we start with the one unit that I want to say probably since the South Florida game, but even then I wasn't too upset about it. The one unit that's been consistent, man, is the one that we all went into the season probably most concerned about, and that's this defense. This defensive unit's playing really good. And you know what? I'm going to do it again. I'm going to tip my big old fat tutty cap here to my guy, Eric Chenander, and this defensive coaching staff. These defensive backs that, remember when everybody said they can't play the ball? They can't play the ball. Well, guess what? What do you got now? You've got what I call is MCE squared, baby. And that is the tandem of your elite running backs, or excuse me, your elite defensive backs. McCoy, that's your MC, and your Irby with 2 picks. MCE squared, baby. You like it?
Yeah, I like it.
It's like a chemistry like formula. It's on the periodic table of elements there, Johnny. MCE squared.
That's been huge, and they've been playing well on the secondary. The pass rush, I thought it would be better, but it was good enough. Nevada obviously has quarterback issues. Playing a true freshman, you could probably see that. This kid, he's limited. He's not, he basically can roll out and throw to the right, and even then, it was kind of hit and miss. I mean, it was not great. What 100%. I would tell you is that, man, you could tell that Jeff Choate he got his boys ready to play. And he only knows really how to control one side of the football and make it really good. Well, really 2. He's a good special teams guy too, but he knew, and I think he spent a lot of time with the defensive plan against Boise, which is junk up the front, man. Play a lot of population in that defensive front against Boise State's O-line. Force the doggy to beat you. Mm-hmm. And did he beat you? Yeah, he did. He did. He beat you. The doggy beat Nevada. But, man, 15 touchdowns, 7 interceptions on the year. Just, 56% completion percentage. This is not a great season right now from Maddox Madsen. It is what it is. And this isn't, the sample sizes against Notre Dame and South Florida. We're talking about arguably one of the worst teams in Division I football, if not the worst, Nevada. But you got to tip the cap to Jeff Choate for having his now 1-7 football team ready to play, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And then you got to give Boise State credit, man, on the defensive side. Now, that was I like this Boise State defense right now. I like it. Period. I like the way they play. I like the way they're flying around. I like their confidence. Here's one of the concerning signs for me about Boise State offensively. Man, whenever I see a game, and if
if I were a part of the Italian mob and I was in the NBA and I was not to make light of our guy Chauncey Billups, Denver's own.
Denver loves him. Chauncey is huge in Denver.
Right now, they don't know what to do with him, right?
They don't. Chauncey is like,
I don't know what to do with my hands, right?
They love him there. Yeah.
Yeah. So Boise State, when they have a game on the blue, you're like, oh, the offense is going to score 50 plus. When you're away from the blue, there's only been one game where you put up numbers, and that's really Air Force. And that is a historically bad defense. I mean, you almost butted your way into a half 100 in that game. Like, you didn't even play clean football. And so troubling signs at South Florida offensively, at Notre Dame offensively, this game. And I'm trying to remember, there might be one other one particular that I can think of that just didn't seem great on the road in terms of just the offensive flow away from the blue. What say you about that, Johnny?
Yeah, I expected him to be way better this year. Period. I'm a big believer in an off season and everything that comes with it. When you guys get these kids in the building for an off season, especially now in off season where you can kind of coach them all year, there's ways to finagle around the time spent with them and the technology now. Dude, these kids can get a film session laying on their bed now.
No doubt.
I mean, they didn't have that before. You guys had to go to the building. Kellen Moore, stories of packing peanut butter and jelly sandwiches because he knew he was going to be in the building for 9 hours that day. Like, now you can do that on your phone. So I'm a big believer in, how much players can improve in an off season. And I thought Maddox Madsen would improve to the level in that off season to where you could lean on him to win you a game, where he's legit best 2, 3 or best quarterback in this league. And he was going to take those steps and be able to beat you. I don't know in Mad Dog's career if I can say, you know what, they won that game because of the doggy. The doggy wasn't going to let him lose.
What was the game last year? I thought he had one.
He may have, okay, and he's had good games. I don't want to sit here and say he's not good. He's had really good games. He's had a career high twice this year in touchdown passes per game. He's thrown for 300 yards multiple times this year. I thought
the doggy had some good UNLV games. Am I right in saying that?
The one of them, I think he played okay in the championship game last year. I think one of them, I don't have his game logs in front of me. I mean, he led the league last year in touchdown passes and passing yards. So, I mean, those are the two stats you look at first for quarterbacks, and you can just say, well, he's just not good. Johnny. He's still able to do that despite him just being average. And maybe that is the case, but there's no one else there you're going to put in that's going to be better than him, and you're not going to give Cutforth a look. I had people texting me like, is it time for Cutforth? And I'm thinking, dude, they're winning. And no, he's not playing well, but that's not how coaches think. They're not just going to throw Cutforth in there. Anyway, it was a rough day, I thought, for Maddox Madsen. It was just bumpy, man. Even when he completes something, it doesn't seem like it's clean. And I don't know what you would know because you played quarterback and coached quarterback, and what you see with him, like, especially just let's forget the whole year because he's had a good year. Look at his stats. Look at the team. Whatnot.
They're okay. It's okay, Johnny.
Last night, you're right. The completion percentage isn't good.
Yeah, his completion percentage, his total yards per game, and his touchdown to interception ratios. You want to be on the correct side of 3-1. I mean, I'll tell you this: the Chris Peterson, Brian Harsin. I'll throw my name in there, even though I'm not one of the OGs. But the completion percentage standard for Boise State's offensive system has always been 70%. That's what we believe, and that's what I like. Right now, I'm coaching. I know it's high school football. I'm not comparing it, but like, I made a decision to go with a sophomore starting quarterback over a senior after 5 games. I was splitting time because one guy was a 56% guy, the other guy was a 71% guy. And it's like, I'm going to go with the 71% guy. Now I happen to be the sophomore because efficiency of getting the ball into playmakers' hands, the accuracy that you get the ball in their hands. Problem is that Boise State doesn't have anybody else, man. If you think Max Cutforth is going to go out there and out execute a player that has played in multiple Mountain West Conference championship games, has played in a college football playoff, has played at the University of Oregon, a team that was essentially slated to win the CFP championship a year ago, and he performed admirably there. Then you're wrong. You're dead wrong. And like, here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm not saying that Maddox Madsen is going to win you another college football playoff, or he's going to take you to another CFP game this year. I don't know that. But what I will tell you is that there is a reality check for the Mountain West Conference right now. And frankly, I hate to say it, the Pac-12 next year. There is not a good quarterback right now in this league. Where are they all at? Where are they?
Where are the quarterbacks? But they're getting paid somewhere else.
Amen. So what's happening is that the Mountain West Conference championship, or excuse me, the Mountain West Conference, the American Athletic Conference, the Conference USA, Sun Belt, heck, even some Big 12, even some ACC, you play yourself into pay at the Power 2. So therefore, you're left with essentially either less than elite talent that can stay there and not get pilfered by a big-time program, or you just got to keep doing what like Nevada's doing. They lost their guy, Brennan. I coached him, Brandon Lewis. He's now starting quarterback in Memphis.
Yeah, playing well.
And guess who they're playing with now? Freshman, true freshman. Welcome to the new world of college football. And I think the quarterback position, Johnny, that is the best case study in how NIL and portal have completely changed the landscape of college football.
At that position.
Yeah, like, who's the group of five guy that we're all like, man, that guy is just woo. That guy, he's already been discovered and pulled somewhere else, because usually it happens in his second or third year at a group of five school, right?
Yeah.
Johnny, who's a good quarterback in the Mountain West right now? Like, it's like,
the Hawaii kid's playing okay. He's playing all right. Where else are we going here?
I'm guessing San Diego State.
I think Calandria's having a good year.
He was great. He looked great. He looked great on the blue, didn't he?
Oh,
God,
come on! No,
scared the hell out of you, didn't he?
I'm saying there's no. I'm not going to say there's an NFL prospect at quarterback in this.
Not
league.
Even close, dude. There's not even
a good
close.
point on that, because it's almost like now, if you want to excel at that position, you have to pay for it.
Well,
unless you're going to be able to grow and develop and get anybody who's going to be on that level and who's going to stay for what you're offering, then good for you. You're able to do it that way. But for a lot of teams, you're going to have to find a quarterback, and we'll see at Boise State, however they end up this season or whatever the plan is next year, if they're going to pay for somebody and come in and have a competition. I don't think Madison's going to go anywhere. He's probably going to go 11-2 this year. He's going to be like 30-6 as a starter, and people are going to be like, okay, it's time to get someone else who can play the position differently. The height. The height. You're 6'4", 6'5". You've never played quarterback, being 5'9", 5'10".
Right.
And there are certain instances. I saw a play last night where Chris Marshall was just wide open, and he didn't see him. And I don't know if that's because he's not 5'11" and he's 5'9".
It also could be he wasn't in the read, right? There's a lot.
It could be the fourth progression in the read. So he's not even going to go there.
I know that's a very normal take when you have a short quarterback, but I'll tell you this, man. I'm now calling plays for a quarterback and I've never been a height guy. You know me. Grant Hedrick was like the perfect quarterback for me. And he's 5'11", even 5'11" and a half.
Okay.
When you say maybe 6 feet tall, he wasn't, but he was so efficient. He ripped the football. Man, I'm calling ball plays right now for a guy that's 6'5"3/4. Titus Heward, a sophomore, just picked up a Mississippi State offer yesterday, by the way.
SEC offer for your quarterback as a sophomore.
Yep.
Nice job, coach.
But it is interesting how quickly he's able to see things and get the ball out of his hands to playmakers by virtue of that. And it's not, man, it's funny because the game has changed a lot, but football is cyclical, right? And I've always held to it. What made a lot of these, I'd call them 5'9" to 6'1" quarterbacks pretty special, is that they changed the game with the second play dynamics, right? getting outside of the pocket, creating the off-schedule playmaking. Well, defenses have gotten better at playing the second play. The second play is not what it maybe used to be when everybody was used to playing the first play. And so I'm finding, even in my own stupid little high school, experiment, that the evolution of being able to go back to playing on schedule, getting the ball out of the hands quickly, efficiently, get to number one in the progression, two in the progression, see it with a guy that can, I'm fortunate to have a guy at the high school level that can do that. But dude, we're operating at about an 80% completion percentage clip because he sees everything in his progression, and we don't play off schedule. I mean, we don't ever play off schedule. And as a result, teams don't really know how to play on schedule defense anymore. It's wild. Wow. It's so interesting because everybody's used to just, hey, as long as you can stop the run and then force the quarterback to scramble, we'll play the scramble drill. Now it's hard, man. Like throwing on time. Old school Bill Walsh football, right? I got a little 3-step drop. Ball's got to be out on the. It's so fun to get back to some of the origins of football right now. And I do think that as it relates to Boise State, man, I haven't seen a ton of that in Maddox Madsen's time. And I'm not saying that that's a scheme thing. Frankly, I'm not even saying it's a Maddox Madsen thing. It might be just how people are playing them. Nevada playing a heavy loaded box. Make Maddox Madsen beat you. And then you play a lot of press coverage. So you interfere or you interrupt or disrupt timing of route because you're playing heavy bump coverage at the line of scrimmage. That's probably the Achilles heel right now of Boise State's offense. And what would you do? I mean, you have to run your quarterback a little bit if you want to score more points. But Maddox has been kind of fighting some injuries, I think, right?
100%. I thought it was maybe he was at like 95% with the ankle, just because in practice he wasn't limping anymore. Not limping, but you can just see it's bugging him. And I didn't see that from him this week. And then I watched the game last night and I said, oh yeah, ankle's still bugging him.
Yeah.
So he's operating it, and I don't even know what percentile I would say, but he's not 100%. And yeah, that probably throws something into this. And you could tell me better, like if you have an ankle injury as a quarterback, how that interrupts the entire process of, that type of deal. And it does take down your mobility. Just your thoughts there.
Yeah. I mean, it can be challenging, Johnny. I mean, it really can. I think that I just hate to say it, but like when you got a quarterback that's sub 5'11", dude, he's got to be a value in the running game. He has to. And if he's not, you're winning football games. So I want to go back to the fact that you're winning Mountain West football games.
Yes.
And we all need to be, I adjusted on Ball Talk. I moved the goalposts on the season. Did I, Johnny? After you got boat raced by South Florida on the road, boat raced by Notre Dame on the road, and didn't show up offensively. Didn't put anything out there for the worldwide to see, hey, man, Boise State's for real and deserves a playoff spot. They lost two really close games, hard-fought games against two really good national contenders. No, that's not the case. So you're competing for the Mountain West Championship right now. Okay, yep. So you're doing the things the right way in order to win the Mountain West Championship. You beat Nevada on the road, which has been a building that's been a house of horrors at times for this program over the years. I had a scary game there in 2014. That was gnarly. We ended up winning big, but it was really uncomfortable when Junior Seau's nephew had a pick six on a swing screen out of Beast Right Rocket, York swing.
What's Beast Right? Is that like a jumbo formation?
No, Beast is actually it's bundle east, so it's an unbalanced. There's no eligible receiver to the left side, and then it's tight end on the line of scrimmage, 3 wide receivers to the right. And then we had a rocket. So I think it was J-Mac. J-Mac on a swing screen. And then Junior Seau, I forgot his name. Ian Seau, I think was his name.
I remember Seau. I remember Nevada having a Seau.
So my short quarterback tried to flip a little swing screen over there, and Seau tipped it to himself and took it to the crib, and we're losing to Nevada in like the second quarter. I'm like,
weren't you guys like 2-3 or 3-2 going into
2-2? Game? I was right on the precipice of feel like I was going to get my butt fired. So that was we turned it around after that play, which was good. But what I would say about this, the Maddox Madsen component, with where you're at, if you can't find any more value in the run game, the two games I'm worried about I'm worried about one game. I'm worried about San Diego State. I'm not worried about
defense for real. I mean, they're number one in every single Mountain West.
I'll tell you who's for real.
Defensive stat.
I'll tell you who's for real. Sean Lewis is for real. As a culture builder, as a head coach, and I saw that he was. I should hate Sean Lewis. Mm-hmm. He basically took my job at CU right after I got fired as the OC. He did a great job at CU. I'm talking a great job. For whatever reason, I guess he didn't do everything that Shedeur wanted to do offensively, where Pat Shurmur said, I'll do this, I'll give you the keys to the castle. That TCU Colorado game that started the coach primary at CU, that was the biggest tip of the cap, maybe of my career, to an offensive play caller, of getting a team ready in very, very short time with an entire transfer operation to go put on a show at TCU, who had just won to the national championship the year before. He gets run out of town. Play calling duty's taken away. Week 7, week 8?
I never thought about that. You're right. That's probably because Sean Lewis didn't want to do everything Shedeur wanted to do, and Shedeur's going to get the play caller who does.
Yep. And now CU fans want to fire Pat Shurmur. Anyway, they do. They hate Pat Shurmur. He is public enemy number one here. But what I'd say is that where I learned to really respect Sean Lewis was when I was coaching Utah State. He took a Kent State program. You want to talk about a tough job? He took a Kent State program, termed it flash fast, right? And it was all this tempo offense. It's the old Art Briles, Baylor. He's got connections to Eastern Illinois, connections to Syracuse with Dino Babers, connections to that whole world of tempo. But what I saw is it was Utah State. We had Jordan Love. We had a good offense, man. Jalen Warren and Jordan Love were our backfield. That's pretty good.
Yeah, Jalen Warren and Jordan Love.
That was our backfield, the Utah State in 2019.
Yeah.
Pretty much all freshmen, sophomore, linemen. But that was our crew. We go to play in the Frisco Bowl. Great, actually an awesome bowl. Great venue, great week of prep. Did everything right there at the Jerry World at the Star in Frisco, Texas. And we go to a bowl event with Kent State. And I wasn't thinking too much about Kent State. I'm like, oh, that's a good story. John Lewis doing a good job.
All those teams you lose track of: Kent State, Ball State, Akron. Who are they? Yeah, totally. Toledo.
These dudes walk in. So we come in our little sweats, and Gary Anderson, our head coach, was very loose with everything. Very, just I wouldn't say no discipline, but just, hey, wear what you want to wear. Just be comfortable. What's up, brother? Kind of we were very much he's like the whitest Polynesian guy or the most Polynesian white guy I've ever met. Okay. Gary Anderson, which is great because we obviously had a great cultural, we brought a lot of great Polynesian players in. But we show up, we're all casual, and their team rolls in in a single file line, and they're wearing they all have button up shirts, like blue collar, not blue collar shirts, but like work shirts, like Carhartt work shirts.
Okay.
Tucked in, belt buckles, cowboy hats, cowboy boots, and every single player on their team had a gnarly beard that they've been growing.
Whole team, they had cowboy boots, and
every coach, every player, and they had completely bought into this whole premise of the Sean Lewis. I love this, by the way. I want to do it, but I'm worried about toxic masculinity and getting thrown under the bus with the current culture. But it was the hashtag, and the whole culture was be the alpha male, the dominant male. And their symbol of alpha was growing out your beard from day one, and everybody staying with it, no matter how ugly it looked. And we played against that team, and it was year 2, because he turned this program around. Dude, we scored. We must have had 600 yards of offense. They would not go away, man. They were tough. They were pesky. They fought. They freaking kept battling, and they beat us, dude. I mean, they beat us. And it was they culturally beat us. It wasn't scheme. It wasn't players. Their culture beat us.
That happens, huh?
Their beards beat us. And it's not the beards. It's not the belt buckle. It's the buy-in. It's leadership. And when you see true buy-in, so that's the game that I have a massive circle around. Boise State, San Diego State. Where is that game?
That game is in San Diego, November 15th, 8:30 Mountain Time, a late kick as well. I want to get your thoughts.
There'll be 3,500 screaming San Diego State fans there.
I mean, if they're going to jump on, San Diego State plays Fresno today, 1:30 FS1. Mega Mountain West game. If San Diego State handles its business, wins in the Valley, which isn't easy in this league, then they're going to set something up special for hosting Boise State. And if they can't find a way to get 20,000 people there, that's stinking on them. That's why you built this stadium, so you can have a good record, be atop of the standings, and so will Boise State, and they come down there and they have a tough time beating you. Ball Talk Season 3, Episode 10. I need Sanford's take on Nate Potter in 20 seconds.
Bronco Nation will not score. Jackson pours. Each game I score a touchdown. Head to Jackson's on Monday for a 49-cent fountain drink with Let's Go rewards. And don't forget your free banana, Jackson's. Let's go.
They're not all perfect game plans I'm talking about, and you've talked to me a lot about this over the years, what goes into it as an offensive coordinator, what you have from your head coach down, what the game plan is. And Nate Potter, last week, everybody was saying, wow, what a beautifully called game. Everybody said that about Nate. Oh, wow, he was on it. Wow. And then last night, I'm doing a call-in show on KBOI. And
I'm sure that was NC-17.
Man, people, at 1 a.m, midnight, people, pissed off at the quarterback, like almost as if they lost 24-3. But I get it. That's this program. That's this fan base. Nate Potter, this is an offense that averages going into this game 478. That was like 11th or 12th in America.
Really
so I'm not going to say what's going on with the offense, but last night, for whatever the reason, 308 yards of offense and 1 turnover. What was your assessment, play caller to play caller? Nate Potter, this deal. What was going on with Potter's game plan last night?
I want this to be made very clear that this is by no means any attempts to try to tell the world that you should do this. But I will say this. Okay. High school football, where a lot of the play callers that the world has kind of gotten to know, I am learning this year a very valuable lesson that I didn't necessarily have as a lifelong, fairly high-end college football offense coordinator. I've learned the value of adjusting to an entirely different defensive scheme than what you game plan for. Okay. And that's going to sound wild. So in college football, you would be asinine to change your entire defensive structure in order to stop one team. High school, I've learned that this year. I started out the first 3-4 weeks and I'm like, oh man, I'm formationally game planning. I'm treating it like it's college football. And then I get out there on game day. I'm like, this team doesn't run a 4-down front against us. Oh wait, they don't play cover 4. Man, they're an odd front, and they're playing cover 1 and blitzing 5 or 6 every play. All right. So what I've had to learn as a play caller is to go to the things that I know are good versus different things and make legitimate, like not in-game adjustments. Like I'm talking like in-series adjustments. Like, oh, this isn't what we planned for. So the reason I bring that up is my advice to all play callers: get fired, get excommunicated from football, and then go coach high school football, and you'll learn how to adjust on the fly. Okay. I'm just telling you that it is an unbelievable mental like this past weekend, we played a team and we played a team called Fruita Monument. Okay. No offense to Fruita Monument. When I saw them on the schedule and we were at Fruita Monument, I'm like, okay, first of all, I'm not playing against the USC Trojans anymore. Right. I'm not calling ball plays in the Collie or against the Washington Huskies.
Stadium.
I'm going to Grand Junction and calling ball plays at Ralph Stoker Field. Okay, now Fruita Monument These dudes come out in an entirely different structure that I haven't seen since I coached at Stanford in 2007 and 2008. They played against the front that's the 57 front, the old school. So it's an under front to the open side of the formation because they were scared about our open side outside zone, our open side counter. And that, frankly, that's where they were weak on their like watching them all week. And so I'm like, okay, I got to completely change what I do. Coverage was different. The run schemes were different. And I'm like, took me like about a series to figure it out.
And they didn't run this before when you watch these guys on tape. Like they just came up with something entirely new that you've never seen.
Entirely new.
That's like Mike Martz with the Greatest Show on Turf Rams teams. I would hear like they would study all week, and then they would run plays that they had never seen before every single week. Wow.
It's so the thing that you learn as a play caller is you gotta have a pretty good catalog of what you love as a universal concept. Sometimes you got to throw it to be able to run it, right? Because a lot of times, right now, if I'm defending Boise State, I'm defending Nate Potter. I'm junk ball in the front. I'm getting them out of their rhythm to be able to run duo, power counter, zone, and I'm making them throw the football. So I think that you got to find your best throws early in a game to say, back the heck up, get off us, dude. Because that's what I saw last night. I think that Nevada did a little bit of high school Harry stuff, which tip your cap, man. I think Nevada defensively brought about a much more box heavy approach to Boise State because Jeff Choate wanted this dang game. You know, I mean, he really wanted this game. And frankly, when it was like 17-3 and Nevada's driving, you're sitting there like, wait, is this maybe gonna are we gonna get into that conversation?
Well, and then stupid penalties on Nevada. They shot themselves in the foot, and you could see Choate just fuming on the sidelines on special teams. They had a penalty where they could have had Boise State pinned inside the 5. Penalty happened. Boise State gets it at the 20, 25, and then the punt where you had a player just back into the ball and then give Boise State. Boise State punted there. That was a big stop. And they were only down 7 at the time. Then you give Boise State the ball inside the 10. They push that thing back up. You're right. Choate's game plan had them in a position where if it was their night and the ball did bounce their way,
we're going 4 quarters of ball.
That could have been very, very interesting. Yep. Fortunately for Boise State, it just wasn't.
I mean, we as a Boise State fan base, we can sit here and get mad about style points. I don't think 2025 is a style point year for the Boise State Broncos. I don't. I think it is a win, survive, and advance. And if you don't like it, hey, we are a little spoiled, right? We are. But you should be very happy that this defense is starting to show some incredible growth. It's starting to show that it's willing to carry this football team toward another Mountain West championship. The Fresno State, San Diego State back-to-back, it's going to be big. It's going to be big. It's going to be big. It's huge. I'll tell you, after watching Fresno State against CSU here in Jay Norvell's second to last game, I think Fresno State's got major issues. Major.
Okay.
Major issues. San Diego State's it's Boise State, San Diego State in this league, and that's how I see it.
That's what you're seeing right now. What did you make of and I don't get this, and I understand the situation calls for different players. Spencer says multiple times, hey, Sire Gaines is our short yardage back. He gets the tough yards. So no, his yards per carry might not be as high as others because we ask him to get the tough yards.
Yep.
If you're not going to get 5 yards per carry if you're getting goal line carries. Those are 1-2 yard carries. Mm-hmm. That's all you have. And I understand that. And Sire's a tough freaking kid, and he got the tough yards, 17 carries for 62 yards. But Dylan Riley never got in a rhythm. He had a few carries early, and he got stuffed. Credit Nevada. And then they went away from him. And 12 carries all in all. I think half of those probably came in the second half. Here for me is the most explosive player in the Mountain West I've seen this season. I'd probably say he's the best player in the Mountain West I've seen this season. He's got multiple 200-plus yard games. He has, I believe, more, 50-yard touchdown runs than most teams have right now. He has like Genty numbers on the distance of runs. He'll pop one. He's proven that. I just didn't understand. Man, it's awfully nice for Sire and Malik knowing Dylan can do whatever Dylan's doing, getting Mountain West Player of the Week twice on the season, and know that, hey, our roles aren't changing. Matter of fact, I'll probably still get the most carries. What did you make of just, you know what, the offense didn't play that well yesterday in terms of yardage. We've talked about it, 308 yards of offense, not enough for this team, but they didn't really include Dylan Riley in any of that, and he's got more yards than anybody on this team by a wide ass margin.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's just kind of like, we'll just go with these guys because we love them all and everybody can do everything, and we don't lose anything with Dylan Riley out and Sire or Malik in. We just do what we do and we move around. And I'm thinking, man, I don't know about that. I think Dylan Riley is your best player. He's been your best player. You can't argue that. And you give him the ball 12 times. I'm sorry, 14. He caught 2 passes too, but Dylan Riley had no impact whatsoever on that game. And I was wondering, like, well, it wasn't because he got 27 touches and they bottled his ass up. No, man, he got 12, and most of the major carries he had were in the beginning of the game, and they did bottle him up. And then it felt like, Coach, I'll say it again and give it back to you, they just kind of went away from him. They didn't. Yeah. I guess they didn't need him last night, huh?
Well, yeah, you did need him because the game was 17-3, and it felt like it was a tightly contested game. I'll never forget. There was a very impactful speech that Andrew Luck gave after practice. I think it was in his 3rd or 4th year at Stanford, and he he's so dang smart. And his first time I'd actually heard this word get used as it relates to football. And he went up there and he was talking to like a lot of the freshmen and just about the long game and how to earn your stripes. And he said that the quote that I remember, and it's been part of my ethos as a coach from a cultural standpoint, is that he said that football is the greatest form of meritocracy that this world has ever seen, which is that you earn by your talents, by your production, by your statistics, by your God-given abilities, by your work ethic, by your accountability. You earn what you get on a football field. And frankly, if a coaching staff is worth their salt, which Boise State clearly has a coaching staff that's worth their salt, then you reward those players that are meriting the opportunity to touch it more, to play more. And right now, as it relates to the 3-headed backfield of Dylan Riley, Malik Sherrod, Sire Gaines, it ain't even close right now in terms of who has merited 15 carries at a minimum. And that is Dylan Riley. And if we were to be honest with ourselves, every one of you that's watching this right now, nearly 1,000 at 9:30, 9:49 on Saturday morning. Thank you for all of you guys that are tuning in. What would you have said that Dylan Riley went in from a we'll call it a hierarchical standpoint going into this season before you saw one game? Who was number one
in this room?
Yeah,
I'd say Sire Gaines.
Or everybody was excited about Malik, right? It was the Malik Sherrod Fresno transfer. Man, he's dynamic. Dude, Dylan Riley, do you remember when he was getting touches in the first game? Do you remember Twitter? Why the heck is Dylan Riley getting touches? Why is he taking touches away from Sire Gaines?
Series. Yeah,
remember
you're
that?
right.
Remember that?
You're
Everybody was pissed, dude.
Yep.
Well, guess what, Dylan Riley? First off, tip of the cap. You're awesome. You're a freaking stud of a football player. You seem like a stud of a human being.
Yep.
But I know sometimes when you get heavy on personnel groupings, you work really hard to get guys the right touches. I've actually been going through the same thing at the high school level where I want to, have some type of equilibrium of touches and distribution. But I do have one guy that's averaging 8.9 and another guy that's averaging 5.1. And at some point you have to just say, you know what? I'm going to probably slow down my personnel packaging. Dude, that's averaging 8 yards per carry. Dude, you're going in this series, period. I'm not taking you out for anything. And I'm going to get you in the rhythm and flow. And that's what I think Dylan Riley will get back to that. I think this is one of those weird games that sometimes it just happens. But as that's one of the things that you do control as a play caller, as a running back coach, is the rotation at that position. And it didn't cost you, wasn't fatal. It just didn't seem like the normal flow that we've seen from Dylan Riley, and I would call this more of an outlier.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time for real, I had to text people who were at the game because I couldn't see the sideline, and I asked, is Dylan okay?
Yeah,
like this is 3 straight series, or he wasn't in. Like, what is he? Is there a discipline? Like, I that would shock me because you said the kid's like a perfect kid.
That's what I've heard.
That was weird. And sometimes to me, especially in a game like that, where your quarterback, the mustard isn't on the hot dog that night.
I love that.
The way they're playing you. And you can say, okay, let's just get the ball to our best player and not worry about it. I noticed this too with teams that do a lot of personnel groupings. And I mean, I get it. So you have 23 different formations. If you're Chase Penry, a receiver, say you are on 8 of those formations. So you're there on the sideline, and until you hear your formation called, you stay there. You hear your formation called, you're out there, and you run your play. They do that a lot. And cool, whatever. You get a bunch of kids get to play, right? Because guys like, and I'll just use Chase Penry as an example, or other receivers who might finish this season with less than 20 catches, they can still say, well, I played. I was out there. I did a lot. I was on 7 personnel packages. One thing I noticed that I don't love, but again, I haven't been out there, but feels like after every single play, they're looking to the sideline to see if they're out or not. And most of the time they are. Like, I'll see Sire get a carry, Malik certainly get a carry, or Riley get a carry. And once they're up and they're getting up, they're looking to the sideline. Oh, yeah, I'm coming out. And it just feels like there's so much substitution with this team. It's tough to get guys into a rhythm. And sometimes when a kid like Dylan Riley shows you what he's shown you for the first 6 weeks of the season, at that point, you're saying, okay, like you were saying, that's just our guy. Right. We're going to give him more of the ball. We're not going to worry so much about personnel where, you know what? Dylan Riley is the hottest player in the league, but shucks. We want to run Z2 scat Eagle zipper hero, and shucks, Malik's, that's his formation. Sorry. So Malik gets to play. It's 3rd and 1. It's the biggest play of the game. But we're running XY Sluggo Spider 2Y Banana, and that's Sire's formation.
Yep, for
Sorry. Or where's Chris Marshall?
That's how it goes.
Where's Chris Marshall on that play? Oh, we were in Banana 2 set. Yep. That means it's Cam Bates and Chase Penry. Well, it's 3rd and 4. It's the biggest play of the game. Chris Marshall's your best receiver. Why isn't he in? Well, it's just not his package. Like, sometimes I get tired of hearing coaches because they're not lying to me. That's how they do it.
That's how it can go.
How they do it. But sometimes I'm thinking they're at press conferences and stuff going like, gosh, why? Why do you have your 5th receiver in on 9 different formations, and all those formations, your best receiver, he's not in there
because he's probably not your best blocker. It's probably because he's not your best blocker. And
100%.
That's what I would tell you. What I would tell you about this, man, is if you're Dylan Riley, and I'm not saying that Dylan Riley is or isn't a great pass protector. I haven't done my research, so do not take it this way.
He was horrible last year. They couldn't play him because of it. This year, JMO says he's been through the roof better. But
okay. So that's one component of it. So running backs that want to touch the ball more become a better pass protector. Second one, receivers that want to catch the ball more and be on the field in all personnel groups, be a dominant, dependable dog in run blocking. A quote that I love: no block, no rock. And that applies to both the running back and wide receiver position.
Yeah. And that's the case with what we've been seeing.
It's interesting, man. When you look at the distribution of touches, man, it almost looks a little bit like, socialism. 98 carries for Dylan Riley, 92 carries for Sire Gaines, 54 for Malik Sherrod. And Dylan Riley averages 7.4 yards per carry to Sire Gaines 4.7 and 4.6 yards per carry. And then I'd call the wide receiver equivalent would be with just 24 catches. Chris Marshall has 467 yards, 19.5 yards per catch to Latrell Capel's 13.4 on 25 catches. Ben Ford had 15.5 before he was injured for the season on 21 catches. And then after that, it's louder with 20 for 10 yards a catch. Cam Bates 8 for 18 yards per catch, which is good. Matt Wagner is 11 yards per catch. Dylan Riley has 14.4 yards per catch. Malik has 7.4 yards per catch. Penry has 10 yards per catch. And then Sire Gaines has 7 yards per catch. I mean, I'm not saying that socialism in a bad way, because that could be a good way. You can spread out.
If you win, yeah.
You are. You're winning right now.
Yes, you are. You're 6-2.
6-2. But I think when you get into the games against Fresno, but definitely San Diego State, I think that this is a great chance for a reset to say, who's going to help us create explosives and win football games against the best team in our conference? And it's Dylan Riley. And it's, in my opinion, the guys that have to touch the ball right now who've proven it, meritocracy. You need to get volume. Dylan Riley and Cunningham. What did I say? Cunningham. Marshall, excuse me. Chris Marshall. I don't know where I got that from. Those two guys got to touch the football. There isn't even a Cunningham here. I don't think there's ever been a Cunningham.
No, and yeah, I agree. Or you know what? And this sucks, but you know how it goes. They're gonna think they're gonna touch the football for somebody else next year. You know, if I'm Chris Marshall right now and I need to go to the NFL and I'm full on going to the NFL, you can't tell these kids anything else. You know that they're going. It doesn't matter the numbers against them. They'll be different. It doesn't matter the stats. Nope, I'm different. It's different in my case. You know how it goes. Well, if Chris Marshall's looking at his stats right now, he's thinking, I can't do what I want to do. I need more. And, you know, now it's so crazy. I honestly believe a lot of these kids, and well, luckily Boise State doesn't have any, or none that I know, but it's just period. They'd rather have their stats and have their money than the team win, period. And that helps them get to the NFL. I think if you deep down told a lot of kids just in college football, you're going to make the NFL, I promise. But every season you play college football, your team's going to be 2-10 every year. You're going to be lousy. You're going to go 8-40 in your career. But you are making the NFL. Are you signing this piece of paper?
Interesting.
I think so many kids they feel bad about it. Maybe they wouldn't want people to know, but hell yes, they're signing that. The college football is turning into that. It's just a place you go before you get where you really need to get. It's like freaking, I hate it, but junior college. Everybody at JC wants to go somewhere else. And that's the motivation that coaches say. You don't want to be here? Okay. You buy into me and I'll get you out. And that's, you know, and that feels like now that's what like G6, G5 teams are like, for sure. Hey, you know, I'm doing this. Now I get to get out. And now it used to be like, this is going to be my home for 4 or 5 years, my family. I'm going to blood, sweat, tears. I might only get to start 2 years. You gave 5 years. You did. And you had a chance to be a starter for one of those years, you know, and you were still willing to buy in and do all that it took and know that, you know what? You wanted to go to the NFL and you thought you were going to go to the NFL coming out of Los Al. You did. Of course you did. And then all of a sudden you had to have that thought wherever it was where you had to say, okay, well, I might not be going to the NFL. This really sucks. How am I going to do what I'm going to do? And you said, I'm going to coach. I'm going to stay in the damn game. And I just think a lot of that now, it's so hard to get kids to buy in many cases, especially, Coach, at the wide receiver position. Like they need their touches, they need their targets, and a lot of them on this team aren't getting that. There's not going to be a receiver on this team that's going to have an all conference caliber year. I don't know if there's a receiver on this team that will be all Mountain West, and they certainly have talented players, but
I think Chris Marshall, you know, we'll see what the end of this thing looks like, but Chris Marshall could go on a 4-game stretch here. That would be pretty good if he's given those opportunities.
Yeah, I agree. He's a stud, man. The kick and play is really good.
He's
off
different.
The cover.
What I would tell you is, I know the hashtag for Spencer Danielson of Built Different is more about the actual building process of building a culture building, our character. He's actually built by the Lord and by the Lord above different. Chris Marshall is built DNA structure.
Yep. They knew that when he was in high school.
Other guys in this roster at that position.
That's why Nick Saban wanted him. Yep. I mean, seriously. I mean, he was built different. That's why Ed Orgeron was bugging him to go to LSU and follow the Jamar Chase in those players' footsteps. He could have went anywhere.
That's the thing that's interesting about the word meritocracy for me, because I use that as something that was a foundational component of how I built this high school team that I'm coaching, because parents are really involved. And I told them, your sons will get what they merit. But part of merit isn't just like, remember the OKG-ism of Coach Pete and everything.
Oh, yeah.
So you would think that meritocracy is only about your character, only about your dependability, only about being in the right place at the right time, doing the right things at all times. It got to the point, I thought, at the tail end of Coach Pete, where the program got overly OKG'd. Sometimes you need some dogs. And so part of meritocracy for me is also your natural God-given talent. That talent is like, Johnny, if you're really, really good in radio broadcasting like you are, you get awards based off your talent. Some of it's your work ethic, but some of it's your natural God-given ability to have a golden laced tongue to be able to spit it out. That's talent, right? And that has to play a factor in it. And that's why I think Chris Marshall, aka Cunningham, as I like to call him, Chris Marshall is a guy that his meritocracy should be based off of, that his talent is actually built different than everybody else. That guy should have 25 to 30 more catches in the remaining 4 weeks of the season.
Well said. San Diego State down the road, but Fresno this week at home. They gave them a 1:30 kickoff. Beautiful on the blue on Halloween weekend. What do you see this week? You said you saw Fresno a couple of weeks ago. Tell Bronco Nation before we get them out of here, kind of what to expect with Fresno week.
Up and down football team, but the blue just carries so much. This team, I have so much faith in Boise State on the blue. And I just feel like I'm going to watch the stinker every once in a while when I see him on the road. I'm very confident about the Boise State Broncos' ability to take down Matt Ence's boys. He's going to want to be physical. He's a North Dakota State guy. He brings that mentality, but right now it just seems like it's not fully taken root yet in the Central Valley. So I like it. We'll be back on Ball Talk on Wednesday night, so we will preview the game in its entirety. So we don't need to get all of our Fresno takes out there, but this is a huge game for the Boise State Broncos. And I think the how you play, how you win, how you conduct yourself offensively is going to be unbelievably important going into the road game against San Diego State.
Okay, I mean, you're probably going to love to be able to answer this question, because I think everybody who played and coached at Boise State does. But okay, Boise State right now has won 16 straight games on the blue. It's the longest streak in America, tied with Alabama. They've had this streak before. They've had this streak way higher than this. I think you lost one home game, something like that.
Wazoo, Jason Gesser.
Yeah. In your whole time there. And since the year 2000, this is your career, basically. 1 year you were here, 99, right? Or no, 2000 was your first year.
Yeah, first year.
This is starting with the Sandman era.
Yep.
In the year 2000. There are 144 wins and 16 losses.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
Blue. They've lost 16 home games in 25 years. Coaches, quarterbacks, throw conferences, everything. Like, why? What is so freaking special about the stupid blue? It's not even that big of a stadium. I mean, these fans are pains in the ass. You know, they get pissed off when they win 24-3. Like, how do you answer that as someone who's lived it on multiple areas? How is this? Why are they so freaking good in that stadium? I don't get it.
It doesn't make sense. This year in particular, it doesn't make sense. Usually, I felt like they were so good on the blue because they were so good as a football team. And right now, like they look like a different team on the blue, off the blue in 2025. And that hasn't always been the case. Now it's been there's this unbelievable snowball effect that happens when you play at Albertson Stadium on that blue field. It's just it's the noise. The noise is the crowd is on top of you. Mm-hmm. I think it's just it's the mental association that other teams have with walking out on this field that they've watched teams. Their indelible images is watching teams go to that surface, see that blue field, and see turnover, touchdown, return, touchdown, blocked punt, blocked field goal,
all that stuff.
It's just it's the snowball effect of the blue that just continues to build, and it's almost just kind of built itself over time. Really, I think it is, and I think a lot of it is mental.
Luckily for you, I think you've never coached on the blue.
I know it's the weirdest thing.
Utah State, you didn't go there, huh?
UNLV, obviously, we weren't in the same conference when I was coaching there.
So you never had to coach on it.
Yeah, that would have been really interesting for me.
Right.
Man, gosh, I'll tell you three particular examples of going back to the scene of the crime of a place I coached. First one that I ever really did was when I was coaching I left Stanford and I go to Notre Dame after Boise State, and I go back to Stanford, and it was a massive game, massive implications. It was college football playoff type of
games were huge. Stanford and Notre Dame back then, they were.
It was huge, Christian McCaffrey, Will Fuller, Ronnie. I mean, it was a really, really good matchup, and it was just so emotionally weird for me. Just wrecked me because I just, I recruited Christian, and I was like watching these guys that I recruited and loved and had great relationships with, and they are just gut punching our football team at Notre Dame. And I'm just like, what is going on? Hosting Boise State and Harse when I was at Utah State, that was bizarre, man. That was the weirdest game, and we got boat raced that game. Yep. Just bad day at the office. We couldn't stop them, man. They're trick play after trick play. I could tell there were a couple little shots across the bow. Like, yeah, Sanford, you think you're pretty sweet, huh? How you enjoying being at Utah State and getting your balls beat in? Shouldn't have left for Notre Dame, should you?
You shouldn't have left Boise State in 2014. They're thinking.
Yeah, there was some of that, which is, I get it. And
you ever think about that? Like, dang it, what if I wouldn't have left Boise State?
Yeah.
I mean, it's Notre Dame. It was a hard path.
Yeah, I don't know. I always think that everything had happened for a reason, and I'm in the perfect place right now for what my family and life and what my passions and desires are now. Yep. And I've always kind of felt that. But then I've had 3 games against former teams that all went horrifically bad. And then the third one was Colorado. We go play Minnesota at Minnesota, and that was a good Minnesota team. And it was first play of the game, dude. Freaking sack, fumble, safety, like first play of the game. I'm like, okay, this isn't good.
PJ Fleck.
Oh, it was bad, and he avoided me in pregame too.
He did. You could just tell he wasn't around.
Is it
easy? Is it easy to avoid guys pregame? You just kind of know where to walk and kind of know who to talk to.
Typically, I try to make it really uncomfortable and just beeline for the person and give them no other choice.
That you've had a kind of
whatever you want to call it. Yeah,
go there and shake.
Like me and Harse had a good dap up before we played each other in Utah State. It was good, but I could tell it was like you kind of saw a ghost. I did the beeline for him. Harse, hey man, I just want to thank you for everything, man. Doing a great job. And then I always crack some stupid joke, self-deprecating or whatever. So, but you can totally see that happening.
Great stuff today, Coach.
Yeah, look at us, man. 975 watching right now on Saturday morning.
Hey, fantastic. Subscribe. We're going back to subscriber only next week. So get on BNN and subscribe. Some good stuff. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, Coach.
Today, horrible slate of college football games. These always end up being some of the best weekends. Just wait. It's just the sneaky bad weekend of college football that's going to be awesome.
Appreciate Circa. Appreciate all the other sponsors, rowpaint.com, and for making Ball Talk possible. We'll catch you next week.
Bronco fans, the new Boise State trading cards are here, and you can only get them at Jackson's.
Start collecting them today.
Jackson's, let's go!